Hello, I'm Michael Simmons. I'm a ceramic art teacher. I taught for 33 years in the elementary schools in Florida and in Portland. I have about 50 paintings on the East Coast that people bought before I started doing ceramics. I started seriously doing ceramics around 1990. So that's at least 30 years, but I did work with kids since 1980, 82, here in the Portland area. I think that's a good intro. I'm going to start my lesson, and today I got to show you the tools that I'm using. Toothbrush for slip and score. I've got 2 or 3 beveled wooden tools for welding the clay pieces together. A little paintbrush, a slip of water. This is my best tool. This is for cutting. This is a painter's palette knife, and I could cut the thinnest, nicest line, if you will, with the clay. And I have a number of these, but this is my best one. For details, I have my potter's wheel trimming tool, a wooden stylus, popsicle stick, another one of my favorite, a pencil, another one of my favorite, another beveled wooden tool, and just in case, another trimming tool that I also use it for details. I'm going to move down just a little. Hopefully you could see that. It's my flat piece of clay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you our webmaster is going to have a picture of what the art lesson I'm going to do. I call it the not the wise man. It's a quarter moon wizard moon. Okay, got a nice beard, and this is a low fire. And again, you'll have a picture of this, a nice colored picture of it from our webmaster. I'm going to move that over a little bit. And I've made a mold for this wizard moon. I'd say it's at least 10 years old, and I've got 30 molds made of various art lesson molds, all different. I do have a crescent moon mold similar to this, same size, but it's just plain with a face, no beard, no hat. My specialty that I learned from Catherine Watson is to put a lace, a doily lace inside the mold on my other mold, quarter moon mold, and I fire it with raku colors, and it's I can't make them fast enough. People gravitate to those. So I'm going to continue. I've got my tools. I've got 2 slabs of clay. rolling them out with a rolling pin and two lattice strip pieces of wood to get it this thickness, and it will shrink 10.5 to 11%. And there's a lot of 10% water in here. So I'm going to bring the screen back down a little bit so you can see this. And I'm going to take my piece of, I've got 2 pieces of clay, flat pieces of clay, and I'm going to curl it a little bit. And I'm going to bring it just down below where the hat line is. And now I'm going to start pressing it into the mold. I'm not worried so much with the inside impressions of my finger, because I know that it's going to be being pressed inward with my thumb, and it'll just stay impressioned in. It'll make an impression to the hat. I can always cut. I'm going to show you how to cut it off. I'm also going to see, I did not bring. Let me go get a can of water. Hang on. I've got my water. I'm going to take my toothbrush, move my tools over here a little bit. Instead of cutting these flaps off, I'm going to add a little bit of slip down here and bend this over for strength back into the clay. I can always poke in breather holes so there wouldn't be any air pockets. I'm going to take my beveled tool, and I'm actually looking into the screen as you watch me rub this together. I can always add a little bit of slip with my finger to temporarily smooth that out. Go back to this tool and press that, continue to press it over into the cavity here, this dip. So that's the beginning. I'm also going to carefully take my pottery wheel trimming tool, and I'm going to look for the bottom of the hat. I've got a piece of clay, dry clay in there, so I'm not worried about scratching the original mold. Because what I did is I I can always use this clay too. Then I'm actually going to take I'm going to take my sharp knife here, palette knife, and I'm just going to go right along the edge there. And I'm not going to cut it all off. I'm going to use another piece of clay for joining and solidifying and strengthening the inside of this mold at a later date. I'm also going to cut this part off right along the edge of the. If your clay moves, I'm just going to push it back in there for this demonstration. And I've got a little bit more clay to cut here. I'm going to push that down. I'm going to take my fingers and pinch it in there, especially where the, I'm going to recut right where the hat where there's a piece of dry clay. Never comes out, believe it or not. So I'm going to just pinch this back a little bit because I've cut most of it off on this side. And I'm just going to take my fingers and pinch it in, push it over a little bit, just make sure it's level. Before I go into this piece, I'm going to show you that I can take this cut off piece and cut it a little bit about like that. And I'm going to actually slip and score with my toothbrush up here. My master potter says always make it look, the uglier it looks, the better it's going to adhere itself, stick together. And I'm going to rub this part of the extra piece of clay to strengthen this area. I'm going to push it in there. And whatever extra clay I have, I'll take my utility knife, cut it off there, just drop it. And then I'm going to take my other side of this beveled wooden tool and weld it on. You can also take a wooden, thick wooden ruler or cut off yardstick to patty cake any clay that's still not down where the mold meets the wizard moon here. I can always tap that in, or I could just use my fingers, keep rubbing it in. I've got to do the other side, weld it on. Hopefully you can see that. I'm just going to rub it in. Before I put in this other piece, I'm going to put some slip here generously. I'm not worried about the plaster mold getting dirty. You can always clean it off with a brush, or believe it or not, it just flakes right off after it dries. I just take a little brush or broom and wipe it out, or use my vacuum cleaner, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna take this other piece of clay, really long. In fact, I'm going to, if I can leave it like that and prop it up, take my towel, fold it a number of times. Hopefully you can see that. And where I slipped and scored is right here. I'll start there. Here's my other slab of clay, twice as much as what I'd probably, or a third more of what I need. But I'm going to curl it just like I did the other side. I'm going to overlap it up here where the other piece of clay is, where the hat is. And I'm going to curl it in there. I'm going to move it over this way. Actually, I just noticed that I need more of this clay down here for the face, the nose, the hair, the beard, and now that should do it. So I'm curling it, pushing it in with my hand. I haven't started pressing into the mold yet with the clay. I'm also going to cut this extra clay right here off, a little bit of slip on my palette knife. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra to overlap. I'm going to use that for putting to strengthening my areas of the clay in the mold. So now my next step is to start pushing in the clay everywhere inside the mold, including the nose, the eye right there, going over to the other side. If I don't have enough clay, I just push it up till I reach the top of the beard right here. And I can always add a piece of clay, slip and score it to strengthen that area right in there. I'll show you another angle. So I would just strengthen this area right here with slip and score and rub it in there. In fact, sometimes I overdo it with strengthening the areas. I'll keep pushing the clay into the mold. I pretty much got the hat, but I'm just making sure the hat is in there. I'm gonna keep pushing in with my fingers. That's about where the mouth is right here. I can feel it. I usually do about 7 shows a year. These Wizard Moons don't sell every show, but I probably sell up to 5 Wizard Moons a year when I'm doing shows. So now I'm going to keep coming down on the beard. I'm not afraid to push in the clay. I've done that before where I did not push in every single area. Right here, I will add a strengthening half circle of clay, slip and score it. Up here at the hat, I will put another half circle. And I actually have a ceramic circle that conforms to this, and I will show you in a minute. Hopefully I'll have time. And I have the piece of clay to strengthen this, a half circle. So I'm still going to keep pushing in the beard area. Doing one side and then going to the other. Curling my hand down along the curve of the beard. Make sure I haven't missed one spot. Go back to the mouth, the nose, the eye. And there's a place where you barely can see the lips. Don't be afraid to keep pressing. You do learn how to make molds or take a mold making class. Okay, now I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to cut right along there. I save all the clay till I get it completely all strengthened, put together. I cut it into a little bit there, so I'm just going to take my finger and push it out. And I can always add a bead of clay, slip and score, all along the edge if I wanted to. And then I'm going to curve this off, curl it over. This is where the nose is. I've got all these little pieces of clay, which is great. I've got little pieces with a curve on it, but I'm still going to keep trimming, getting my palette knife wet. And that would be good to have, because I still have a little bit up here where I ran out of clay. So what am I going to do? I tell the kids for years, I've told the kids for years that slipping and scoring, if you were to slip and score two pieces of clay together, and it would like sound like that. Does it really? No, but so I'm going to take this piece of clay and I'm going to cut it in half with my palette knife. I'm going to take my toothbrush, add a little bit of slip there, and I'm going to push it. This also strengthens the tip of the beard. So don't be afraid if you do run out of clay. Push it in there. Rub it in there. Take a smaller finger if you have to. I can always come back and cut that out, but I'll do it now. I always dip my tool if I'm cutting into the water. It lessens the friction of cutting, of course. I'm sure you probably have done that. So again, if I run out of time, I'm going to put a half moon shaped slab of clay here to strengthen there, strengthen about there, and at least one here. I've already got one up here, and I can take a fingertip of slip and I can smooth that out. I'm not going to cut that extra clay out just yet. So I've got a big chunk of clay. I'm going to lay my mold here for you to look at. I'm actually going to see if I can get this there at a higher. Hopefully you can see that better, because I'm going to take this scalloped round piece of clay, get it wet, tear off the end, use my palette, use my slip, which I've put there now, slip and scored that. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to push it down in there, add a little bit of slip. My master potter always said, do slip both pieces, the clay that's in here and the clay that you're going to push into it. Now, what I do to strengthen it, I'll roll out these little pieces of cut off clay with my fingers only, and that'll be strengthening the outside of this piece of clay that I'm putting in there, like that. And I've got all that extra clay. I can use that as a, I got some slip. I'm not going to cut, I'm going to dip it down a little bit and then come back up. So I have like a little beveled end in the middle, so it doesn't get in the way. I'm going to take fingertip of slip, just like you do on the potter's wheel. those people who are watching that have done, know how to throw, you're always using your 2 fingers and smoothing out the your bowls, your cups, your vases, and then any other extra clay. I'll take this wooden tool. Now, I'm still going to take this other side of the bevel tool and rub it together, join the 2 pieces of clay, weld it together. But I'm going to strengthen this by adding a coil, I should say, of clay on each side to strengthen it. This is a high fire clay, cone 6, but I can fire it in the kiln outside in the backyard, in my raku kiln outside. So I'm going to dip this clay in a little bit of water, or I can take my brush and I can slip and score. Remember, the uglier it looks, the better it's going to attach itself. I'm going to push that down in there. If I don't cover the whole thing, I just get another coil or push it in a little bit up there, push it in there, bring it up there, take my beveled wooden tool, rub that in. And yeah, I did miss a couple areas, smooth it out with the tool. I will keep smoothing this out until in fact, I just missed an area. I just noticed pressing in the clay. I'll keep doing that as I work. It's been 30 minutes. So just a reminder that I can take this little beveled piece, take a little bit of slip. Actually, I'll come up here and I can curl it a little bit there. Use that as a, roll it out as a little coil, and then cut this side off. And now I'm ready to slip and score. And before I stick it in there, I'm also going to put a little bit of slip, rub it in there, even indent, put some texture in there. Put some texture on here. All right, now, so I'll do one more half circle here for strengthening. And I also have to, up here, this is where I'm going to actually, once I rub that in, I know we've run out of time, but I'm going to take my favorite tool, and I'm going to cut out a half circle here. I'm doing that because I'm going to do 2 more of these. So if I want to hang this up on a nail or a drywall screw or wherever I'm got on my display panel, or wherever you have it at your house, if you were to purchase one of these, I would have maybe 2 more of these, one here and one here, because in case this did not survive or cracked. And you know what? I can't remember ever having one cracked, but there's your nail hole inside to hang your clay wizard moon. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.